Assalamualaikum and very good morning to Madam Hasniza. And today I will explain about database security for assignment 2. Okay, first of all, what is database security? Database security refers to the range of tools, control and measure designed to establish and preserve database confidentiality, integrity and availability. This slide will focus primarily on confidentiality since it's the element that's compromised in the most data breaches. Okay, next slide. Database security must address and protect the following. First, the data in the database. Then the database management system, DBMS. Any associated application, the physical database server and or the virtual database server and the underlying hardware. And last is the computing and or network infrastructure used to access the database. Database security is a complex and challenging endeavor that involves all aspects of information security technologies and practices. It also naturally at odds with database usability. The more accessible and usable the database, the more vulnerable it is to security threats, or the more invulnerable the database is to the threats, the more difficult it is to access and use. And why is it important? And by definition, a data breach is a failure to maintain the confidentiality of the database, of data in the database, and that how much harm of data breach inflicts on your enterprise depends on the number consequences of all factors. First is compromised intellectual property. Example, your intellectual property, trade secret, invention, proprietary practices may be critical to your ability to maintain a competitive advantage in your market. If that intellectual property is stolen or exposed, your competitive advantage may be difficult or impossible to maintain or recover. Next is damage to brand reputation. Customer or partner may be unwilling to buy your product or services or do business with your company if they don't feel that they can trust you to protect your data or theirs. Next is business continuity or lack thereof. Some business cannot continue to operate until a breach is resolved. Then, fine or penalties for non-compliance. This is the financial impact for failing to comply with global regulation, such as payment card industry data security standard, stand for PCI DSS. This can be devastating, with fines in the worst cases exceeding several $million per violation. Next is cost of repairing breaches and notifying customers. In addition to the most of communicating a breach to customer, a breach organization must pay for forensic and investigate activities, crisis management, triage, repair of the affected system and more. Okay, to the next slide. Common threats and challenge. Many software misconfiguration, vulnerabilities or patterns of carelessness of misissue can result in breaches. These following are the among of the most common types or causes of database security attacks and their causes. First is the insider threats. An insider threat is a security threat from any one of the three sources which privilege access to the database. First is the malicious insider who intends to do harm. Second is the negligent insider who makes error that make the database vulnerable to attack. And the last one is an infiltrator, an outsider who somehow obtain credential via a scheme such as phishing or gaining access to the credential database itself. Next is human error. Basic human error, accident, weak password, password sharing, and other unwise or uninformed user behavior continue to be the cause of the nearly half of all reported data breaches. Next is exploitation of database software vulnerabilities. In this, hacker may make their living by finding and targeting vulnerabilities in all kinds of software, including database management software. All major commercial database software vendors can open source database management platform issue regular security patches to address these vulnerabilities, but failure to apply these patches in a timely fashion can increase your exposure. Next is SQL or no SQL injection attacks, a database specific threats. These involve the insertion of arbitrary SQL or non-SQL attack string in database queries served by web application or HTTP headers. Organizations that don't follow secure web application coding practices can perform regular vulnerability testing are open to this attack. Next is buffer overflow exploitation. Buffer overflow occurs when a process attempts to write more data to a fixed length block memory that is allowed to hold. Attackers may use the access data stored in the adjacent memory addresses as a foundation from which to launch attack. Next one is the denial of service, or they said DOS and DDoS attacks. In denial of service, DOS, the attacker deluge the target server, in this case database server with so many requests that the server can no longer fulfill the legitimate request from actual user, and in many cases the server become unstable or crash. In a distributed denial of service attack, DDoS, the deluge comes from multiple server, making it more difficult to stop the attack. Next one is malware. Malware is a software written specifically to exploit vulnerabilities or otherwise cause damage to the database. Malware may arrive via any endpoint device connecting to the database network. Last one is attack on backup. Organizations that fail to protect backup data with the same stringent control used to protect the database itself can be vulnerable to attacks on backup. This is the example of the threats are exhibited by the following: growing data volume first, second is infrastructure sprawl, third one is increasingly stringent regulatory requirement, and the last one is cybersecurity skill shortage. And for the best practice, because databases are nearly always network accessible, any security threat to any component within or portion of the network infrastructure is also threat to the database, and any attack impacting a user's device or workstation can threaten the database. Thus, database security must extend far beyond the confines of the database alone. When evaluating database security in your environment to decide on your team's top priorities, consider each of the following areas. First one is physical security. Whether your database server is on premise or in a cloud data center, it must be located within a secure climate controlled environment. Then administrative and network access control. The practical minimum number of users should have access to the database, and their permission should be restricted to the minimum level necessary for them to do their jobs. Likewise, network access should be limited to the minimum level or permission necessary. Next is the end user account or device security. Always be aware of who is accessing the database and when and how the data is being used. Data monitoring solution can alert you if data activities are unusual or appear risky. All user devices connecting to the network housing the database should be physically secure in the hands of the right user only and subject to the security control at all times. Next one is encryption. All data, including data in the database and credential data, should be protected with the best-in-class encryption while at rest and in transit. All encryption keys should be handled in accordance with the best practice guideline. Database software security. This one, you always use the latest version of your database management software and apply all patches as soon as they issued. Next one is application and web server security. Any application or web server that interact with the database can be channeled for attack and should be subject to ongoing security testing and best practice management. Next one is backup security. All backups and copies or image of the database must be subject to the same or equally stringent security control as the database itself. The last one is auditing. Record all logins to the database server and operating system, and all log operation performed on sensitive data as well. Database security standard audits should be performed regularly. And the control and policies. In this one, in addition to implementing layered security control across your entire network environment, database security requires you to establish the correct controls and policies for access the database itself. These include the administrative control to govern the installation, change and configuration management for the database. Next one is preventative control. This is to govern access, encryption, tokenization and masking. The last one is the detective control. This is to monitor database activity monitoring and data losses prevention tools. This solution make it possible to identify and alert on anomalous or suspicious activities. Next one, we go to the data protection tools and platform. Today, a wide array of vendors offer data protection tools and platform. A full-scale solution should include all the following capabilities. First one is the discovery. Discovery is you actually look for a tool that can scan for and classify vulnerabilities across all your database, whether they hosted in the cloud or non-premises, and offer recommendation for remediating vulnerabilities identified. Discovery capabilities are often required to conform to regulatory compliance mandates. Second one is the data activity monitoring. The solution should be able to monitor and audit all data activities across all database regularly of whether your deployment in on-premise, in the cloud or in a container. It should alert you to suspicious activities in real time so that you can respond to threats more quickly. You also want solution that can enforce rules, policies and separation of duties that offer visibility into the status of your data through a comprehensive and unified user interface. Make sure that any solution that you choose can generate the reports you need to meet the compliance requirement. Next one is the encryption and tokenization capabilities. Actually, tokenization is the process of replacing sensitive data with unique identification symbol that retain all the essential information about the data without compromising its security. In this case, off-bridge encryption offers a final line of database against the compromise. Any tool that you choose should include flexible encryption capabilities that can safeguard the data in on the premise cloud or hybrid or multi-cloud environment. Look for a tool with a file, volume, and application encryption capabilities to conform your industry compliance requirement, which may demand tokenization or advanced security key management capabilities. And the last one is the data security optimization and risk analysis, a tool that can generate contextual insight by combining data security information with advanced analytics, which enable you to accomplish optimization, risk analysis, and reporting with ease. Choose a solution that can retain and synthesize large quantities of historical and recent data about the status and security of your database, and look for one that offer the data exploration, auditing, and reporting capabilities through a comprehensive but user-friendly self-service dashboard. I think that's all for me. Thank you.